on national values and principles of good governance.
Thank you, Chair. That's an article I understand very well. In my office, I always keep this book. The supreme law of this country, the Constitution.
I hope together with the Bible.
Together with the Bible, even with the Bible, you find it in my office.
Proceed.
Therefore, just in case, if you allow me to serve as the Inspector General of our beautiful country, if you allow my nomination, Chair, Co-Chair, I wish to state I will have no option. Stick to this Constitution. Article 10, I will have to observe it. Treat everybody with dignity. Be humane. Protect life. I have no option. So all those values mentioned under Article 10, Chair, Co-Chair, members, is my commitment. And all through in my policing career, I've put effort towards ensuring I'm a professional policeman and serving all our people equally.
Okay. My question was whether you appreciate the professions, but I think we've given a general term. That is in order. Now, are you conversant with Article 232 of the Constitution on values and principles for public service, having now served for 31 years? And the question is very clear. Are you conversant with that article?
Chair, very conversant with that article. Actually, is the guiding principle of a policeman. So it's very clear to me, Chair.
Okay. Now, finally, Mr. Koome, and this is very important, and I want you to inform this committee, what is your vision? We appreciate your 31 years of service. That is okay. How you received the Bob in Kenya, that is okay. The 15 operational orders you've done, that's okay. But the question before you and before the House and the country is, what is your vision as the Inspector General of Police if this committee approves you? Because that is where Kenyans are looking unto. What is your vision? Can you tell us the vision you have? If you're nominated and appointed, what is your vision?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Co-Chair. Thank you, members. If you approve my nomination, what I intend to do, my vision is to transform the policing service in this country. That is my vision for a safe and secure Kenya. That is my goal. That is what I'm looking at.
Yes.
I must transform the policing service in the country. Thank you.
Apart from, of course, transforming, because transformation is just one aspect of your vision, I'm sure there are many other areas that you will be able, at the course of questions by members, be able to expand your vision so that we see the bigger picture about that position. Now, I would like us, and I want to appreciate your answers to those questions by my co-chair and myself. Now, I want to give my colleagues a moment to ask questions also. We are going to take 4. 3. First, and you respond to those three. We take another round of three until we conclude questions from these honorable members, senators, and members of the National Assembly. And before we go that, it is important for you, nominee Bwana Koome, that Parliament invited Kenyans, pursuant to Article number 118 of the Constitution, public participation. We invited Kenyans to come forth and give their comments as to your suitability. And we would like to inform you that we got 2 affidavits sworn before a commissioner for oaths. One by Saina Kombo, sorry. We will give you a copy, but that will arise later, not at this point. So that, he has already a copy, yes. So you already have a copy of that affidavit. So later members will put questions to you on that particular affidavit. Secondly, there is another affidavit which is in support of your nomination by one William Tapman. You don't need to worry about this one because he really supports your nomination. So I just wanted to notify you that. We will share that later so that we put questions to you, then you answer. Let me allow an Honorable Raso, our Vice Chair for National Committee of National Assembly, to have the floor on the questions that you would like to put to you. So what you do is you take notes, then you respond after the 3 members, and then we go around. Honorable Raso.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Koome, I believe you are familiar with Chapter 6 of the Constitution. If Parliament will approve your nomination, you will sit atop the National Police Service, and you are likely to enjoy sweeping powers. You'll be the man to be entrusted with safety and security of Kenyans and also safeguarding their human rights. To this, I'm looking at your previous work experience that you are likely to bring to your new docket. As Nairobi Regional Commander, you are adversely mentioned in an affidavit by the Kenya Human Rights Commission that through omission or commission, under your watch, Kenyans' rights were grossly violated during the post-election violence in 2017. You need to tell us how much you know about incidents which happened in 2017 after the election, and what assurances will you give Kenyans that you are up to the task to defend their rights? Secondly, is the issue of corruption. Here I am looking at leadership. Corruption, I believe Kenyans are watching. Our police institution is considered to be almost the most corrupt in the country. In police stations, during arrest, investigation, traffic police, the menace of corruption is so widespread that I believe Kenya's trust must be restored. And it must be restored by yourself if Parliament sees it fit that they can give you the job. Give us a history of you fighting corruption in your long career, and tell the people of Kenya your commitment and possible strategies. Finally, Mr. Chairman, it is on the issue of integrity. Looking at your CV and your workstations, I almost see that you worked in Nairobi, Machakos, Maragua. You are basically a Nairobi man. For those of us coming from far-flung areas that are perennially in conflict, we are worried that do you really understand Kenya, and are you likely to address even some of our concerns? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Raso. I'm sure you've taken notes on those issues. Let me allow Honorable Kaunya. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Our nominee, Japheth Kome, you are welcome. I want to ask a question that is related again to the area of integrity. It touches on integrity, slightly quite closely related to what Honorable Raso asked. I see from your CV, your promotions were seamless, and that is really commendable, because in the public service, as you are aware, the promotions follow certain requirements, and I have seen. But I wanted just to ask a question, whether these promotions, were they promotions you earned, or they are promotions that you are assisted? The reason I'm asking, as you are aware, there are police officers who have served for 30 years. Some have served for 15 years with even degrees, but they don't get the promotions. So that's one area that maybe touches. Secondly, it's a question relating to the relationship between the police, the National Police Service, and other departments. It is public knowledge that there has not been very good relationship, or there has been tension between the National Police Service, sometimes with the DPP on who should charge who, the DCI, sometimes with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the IPOA, which is supposed to be policing the police. I want to ask, how, in what way are you going to deal with those tensions? And how are you going to ensure there is harmonious relationship so that the services do not suffer? I think those two are my first questions.
Thank you, Honorable Kaunya. And finally, in that row is Honorable Lisa Chelule. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. And thank you, honorable members of Parliament. Engineer Kome, I'm asking you a question that is under leadership and integrity. And I have two questions, Engineer. My number one question is about corruption. Is there anything that you can do to eradicate alleged endemic and systemic corruption in the service? Tell the people of Kenya your commitment and your strategies. My question number two, Engineer, is about the harmonious working relationship with other government agencies. How will you ensure that there is harmonious working relationship with other agencies, such as DPP and ESCC, and mitigate the duplication roles? Number three, Engineer Kome, if warrant of arrest was to be issued by the courts against your cabinet secretaries, will you execute? Thank you, Chair.
Good. I want to change a bit. I want to keep Professor Ochenda, Senator Ochenda, on that particular item also. And then it's supposed to be 3, but we have added 1 to be 4. So that way.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Just Engineer Kome, is it engineer or inspector? I think you're an inspector now that you're a policeman. Inspector Kome, just tell us, do you have any history of discipline either by yourself as an officer or against you as an officer when you served or since you were employed in the service? Have you been the subject of disciplinary proceedings? Number 2, you have been asked questions on corruption and what you do to curb corruption in the police force. I think when the new CS for internal security was sworn in, he said that one of the things he would want to see is policemen wearing trousers without pockets. Is this sufficient? Is this sufficient? Or do you think there's more that you can do to inculcate personal integrity in police officers who serve? But lastly, on the same line, Engineer Kome, are policemen sufficiently remunerated? Or do you think that the remuneration that policemen get is the cause of corruption in the force?
Thank you. You can now answer those questions. Yeah, you have the floor. Bwana Koome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Co-Chair. Thank you, honorable members. I wish to start with Professor Ojienda, Senator Professor Ojienda.
Mm.
You can add Senior Counsel. And Senior Counsel Ojienda.
And you can confirm
thank you,
Senator Kisumu.
Any history of discipline? Not at all. For the 31 years, clean record of service. Corruption, a chair, a co-chair. You know, this is a matter which has been in the public domain for many years. And a chair, co-chair members, we are now at a point where we need to stamp authority. Things cannot continue as issue. At this level, I think we have seen it all. But there is a country for the generation to come. We are going to leave this country to future generation, to our children. We have reached a point where there has to be a conversation. And the chair, if you allow me to serve as an Inspector General, we have no option. And this is what I've been doing at the college. Talking to the recruits, the 2,900 I have now in the college, the promotional courses I have at the college. Every morning, this is subject we deal with. We don't teach corruption at all. You know, how one can be corrupt. Maybe we teach officers how to fight corruption, but not to be corrupt themselves. And the college is corruption-free zone. The chair, co-chair members, we must take the bull by its horns. I will start with the identification. I'm here in uniform and with my two names. Any member of the public, any Kenyan can identify me. Chair, co-chair, members, if you approve my nomination, not a single day you find me without the two names here. That is the commitment. And that is what I expect. If the Inspector General, just in case you allow this nomination, just in case you approve this nomination, if the Inspector General will be all through with his name tag, I expect the same with my officers. They should be able to be identified by members of the public. If you allow my nomination, I intend to have a discussion with the service commanders, because it's consultative. Keep consulting. So that even when I'm in my suit, and I'm in suit on duty, I may also need to have a name tag. That's the conversation we may need to have with the service commanders. What we see along our roads, and I will not sit here to attempt being on the defensive. The truth is, what is happening along our roads is ugly. It's not acceptable. That is an issue I'll deal with. The chair, again, if you approve this nomination, I intend to go further, engage the service, have a discussion with the service commanders, so that we can have a reward mechanism to the members of the public. So that any member of the public is out there, he captures a police officer receiving even a cent. That evidence is presented to us. Then there is a reward to that member of the public. Monetary reward. And this will go right to the police stations, not just along the highways, not along the roads, but even at the police stations. The other strategy, a chair, a co-chair, members, honorable members, senators, I intend to employ, and it is anchored in law. It is the National Police Service Act, the county policing authorities. It is in the law, but we have taken too long to activate those county policing authorities. And that will be a game changer. Because what the National Police Service Act says, any barrier along the road must be entered in a register, which is managed by the county policing authorities. So if we go that way, we shall not have our officers out there along the highways without reason. I wish now I go to the question by...
Yeah, you must have noted that there are quite a number of them. So I will ask if you can be a little bit short to the point, so that you can able to address the many number of questions raised by members. Yeah.
That will be an answer. I'll adhere to that. I'll adhere to that, sir. Honorable Cherule, leadership and integrity. Corruption, I've addressed it. No compromise. Harmony, working with other agencies. With the DPP, with the HIPOA. I think what you have been watching on TV, what you have been observing is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. That is the direction we should not take. We are sending very wrong message to the citizens of this country. When senior people, we quarrel over, and we are serving the same member of the public. There's not one member of the public for ODPP, for DPP, and another member of the public for the DCI or IG. It's the same member of the public. And at the end of the day, what you want is delivering service to mwananchi. We must work together with IPOA. And I've started seeing those indicators, because I remember last night when I was receiving messages to congratulate me for coming here. Among the messages was from the chairperson IPOA. She sent a message at about 6:19 p.m. That shows there is goodwill. And that is what, if you allow this nomination, that is what I'll carry into that office. We consult, work together, including this committee. We must work together for the good of this country. Honorable Kaunya Asa, again, integrity, rapid promotion, that the Koome was, his promotions were rushed, is not the case. The DCI who has just exited, he joined police, I think, 2 years after me. The IG who has exited, he joined police after me. The former DCI, he became a DCI having served 19 years. I've served from 31 years with clean record of service. I've even submitted to this committee my appraisal reports, appraised by the IG, appraised by the DIG, and you see the score. Look at that appraisal. I've submitted 2, last year and the other one, and the score is none below 94%. Where the IG has said this is a recipient officer. The IG has mentioned, he has stated, this officer is able to shoulder added responsibility. That document is in your custody, signed by the just exited IGP of this country. Again, the relationship between the police and other agencies, I have addressed that. Honorable Raso, sir. Sweeping powers, I may not want to imagine about those powers. Mine is to serve this beautiful country. Mine is to serve our people. All the time have interests of our people at heart. Always serve to the needs and expectations of our people. Not feeling powerful. That will not take me anywhere. My interest is, if you allow my nomination, I'll be remembered for having somehow transformed the service, as I stated when I started. Thank you, Chairman.
On warrant of arrest.
You
Chair.
sure you have exhausted post question?
Warrant, no. There is a question of warrant of arrest.
Okay. You need to clarify that by Honorable Chelule on warrant of arrest, and then also Raso seemed to be having some unanswered question.
Yeah, he needs to tell us about the affidavit and about human rights.
No, but about the affidavit we have agreed, we can bring that towards the end. That's what we have agreed. But you can answer that one of human rights.
Yeah, Co-Chair, just a point of order. Just maybe before our nominee answered that question, we have a member who have joined us. I think it's procedural. He should tell us who is. Yeah, if you have any interest.
No, I'm not interested. My name is Honorable Mporo Abori, Member of Parliament, Tigania East. I'm a friend of this committee.
So, Raso? No, I think Raso's issue and the one for Honorable Chalule, those are the ones you did not cover. Just cover shortly so that we move to the next.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Co-Chair. Thank you, honorable members, senators.
To be very clear, what is your philosophy on human rights issues? That's what Raso is asking. What is it that you believe in human rights?
Thank you, Chair. And that's why I deliberately keep this book next to me. We must treat our people with dignity. We must observe the provisions of the law all the time. We must be professional. That's where I come from, Chair. Maybe, Honorable Cherule, the warrant of arrest, just in case my CS, there is a warrant of arrest to effect arrests of the CS. I have no option. That is what the laws of this country state. So I'll just go to my CS, no harm, I'll salute him. Good morning, sir, I've come. The law says I must show him the warrant of arrest, no harm, my identification, then I'll effect the arrest. No shortcut. That is the only direction we shall take. Thank you, sir.
Before I hand over to my colleague, I have a question. Cattle rustling, and I know members will raise that, but I want to give the floor to my colleague here. Cattle rustling, Bwana Koome, is a big threat to security in this country, and especially in those areas that you know, like Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, and so on. I have been a member of Parliament, Baringo North, for terms, and that has been one of the worst challenges I've faced. People killed by the raiders, displaced from their land, wounded, maimed. We've raised actually widows and widowers and orphans in thousands in those areas. And they have not been able to enjoy their constitutional rights, social, political, economic rights as per the Constitution. The business of the government, that is the state, through the police, is to secure the lives of our people and property. But I think, Bwana IG, there is already a firm belief across the country that the police have lost in this war. The challenge I have is that we have been able to provide what you call homegrown solutions. One, we've been able to identify the raiders by name, their villages, their chiefs, and so on. And we have given out their names to the police service. Even NSIS have done that. But no arrest has been done in some of those areas. And there are the same fellows who just keep on raiding. Your police stations, we propose strategic places to be put. Even when you do so, there are no police officers in those positions. I remember, and I know some stations in my former constituency, where you have 3 police officers who are supposed to man a whole area. And finally, Even when they have their vehicles, they don't have the fuel. My question to you, and remember you are the fourth IG, and your other former colleagues, they have given those assurances. My question on behalf of people in those regions, as others will do, is what will you do differently, Bwana Koome, so that the people identified as the raiders are arrested and we have peace in those areas? Recovery of livestock, as I conclude. So that is an area which I thought maybe you need to address us and the country, because that is the feeling across the areas where we have the cattle rustling business. Thank you. And from there,
with your leave. Chair, with your leave.
Yeah.
Before you go, with your leave, I think the IG, not IG, not yet. Nompo is convincing me he's a good man, but not yet. Chair, he has not addressed the 2017 post-election question. I thought that maybe he should not forget that one.
Okay. Maybe what we do, Professor, we can allow him to deal with that issue when you are putting the question on the affidavit, because the affidavit is actually dealing more on matters of the post-election violence. So let me now allow my colleague to proceed and invite the other members to... You will answer mine when you're answering the other questions from the other members.
Thank you, my co-chair, and for that very good moderation. Mr. Koome, I hope you should be provided